The Maxwell Anderson trial in the death of Sade Robinson. The state's still making its case as we enter week 2.
Yeah, that's right. And Bria Jones, you have been following this, obviously, even before it started. You've been in the courtroom today. We talked a little bit about some of the testimony that was given today. So many things stand out. We have been talking a lot about this, but I want to start at 10 with something that may have kind of gone under the radar. In Waukegan, the police, we haven't heard much about that police officer took the stand. Tell us about what happened in that part of the testimony today.
Okay, Mary, that's kind of where things concluded for the day. For the first time, we heard from a police officer from Waukegan, Illinois. She described that day in May of last year, I believe May 11th, that she was dispatched out to a beach in Waukegan. When she arrived, she said she actually had to take a ATV to get down to where Sade Robinson's arm would be found. So we saw some pretty graphic images of an arm that was kind of lodged next to a log. She described the arm as decaying. And you know, some of the details are just too graphic for me to even discuss, but you could visibly see that her arm, again, had been detached from her body for over a month.
We are now able to bring the story that you put together, so let's show that and talk a little bit more on the other side. Here's Bria's story from earlier tonight.
On day 5 of his trial, Maxwell Anderson sat quietly, occasionally writing notes to his attorney as images of his home were on display. First on the stand, his former tenant, Pete Warbington.
After about the first year of living there, he came to be what I would call just an insufferable landlord.
Warbington lived on the first floor of Anderson's home and testified Anderson, who worked as a bartender, would often have people over late at night. He says Anderson would also often make loud noises with power tools, as he did home improvement projects. But the night of April 1st, 2024, when prosecutors say Anderson killed and dismembered 19-year-old Sade Robinson, Warbington doesn't recall hearing anything.
Did you hear him dragging a body down the stairs at 1 in the morning?
I did not hear anything at 1 in the morning. The only thing that I heard was what I thought to be a suitcase or something coming down, like I said, at 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning.
And you don't even know what it is because you didn't see it.
You're correct. I have absolutely no idea.
Any weapons on him, sir?
No.
What's going on?
Wednesday, prosecutors also presented new body camera video showing the moments Anderson was arrested on April 4th of last year.
Mr. Anderson was seated in the driver's seat, physically shaking.
The demeanor described unlike footage from inside Twister Fisherman and Dukes on Water, where prosecutors say Anderson and Robinson had food and drinks and ended the night out playing beer pong, possibly one of the last times Robinson was seen alive on camera. During today's testimony, we also heard from a medical examiner. She testified that there was evidence of knife cuts and possible stab wounds during Robinson's autopsy. She said there were no drugs or alcohol detected in her system. Unfortunately, right now, we do know that the death was ruled a homicide, but they say at the ME's office they were unable to specify exactly how she died.
There is not going to be an easy day, nor has there been an easy day for Sade Robinson's family. Today, as I watched, I thought of them a lot, saying this is really some tough stuff to hear. How are they doing? How are they holding up? How are they interacting with each other?
I will say that the district attorney's office, they have a lot of these victim witness personnel that are helping them. So if they know something graphic is coming up, there's a body part that could be seen or presented to the jury, they remove them from the situation. They kind of let them know, hey, this is coming. We may see this. You can leave if you want to.
All right. Bria, we know you'll be there. We'll continue to talk to you. Thank you.
The national spotlight has turned to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where the homicide trial of Maxwell Anderson is now underway. An emotionally charged case that has gripped the country since the tragic disappearance and death of 19-year-old Robinson in April 2024. Anderson stands accused of 4 serious felony charges: first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, arson to property other than a building, and hiding a corpse. Each charge ties back to what prosecutors describe as a gruesome series of actions that began shortly after Anderson and Robinson went on a date. On Monday, jurors were given their first look inside Anderson's home, located near 39th Street and Oklahoma Avenue. The duplex served as a key focus for prosecutors, especially the basement area where disturbing evidence was found. The state called Pete Warbington to the stand, a former tenant who lived in the lower unit of Anderson's duplex for about 2 years. Warbington not only knew Anderson from childhood, they once played Little League together, but also had close insight into his daily habits. Initially, Warbington described the living situation as relatively peaceful, but over time, he said, Anderson's behavior changed. He became increasingly disruptive, bringing people over late at night after bars closed, and frequently working on noisy home improvement projects. Warbington testified that Anderson owned a large number of power tools and was constantly working on renovations. Interestingly, despite describing himself as a light sleeper, Warbington claimed he didn't hear anything out of the ordinary around the time prosecutors believe Robinson was killed. The only odd moment he recalled was hearing what sounded like someone packing a bag early one morning, though he couldn't remember exactly which day that occurred. On cross-examination, the defense emphasized Warbington's sensitive hearing and pointed out that he never heard any screams or power tool activity that night. Details they hope will raise doubt about the timeline and location of Robinson's death. Warbington also described a suspicious construction project in the backyard, what he called a bunker-like hole. Anderson reportedly told him it would become a shed and a dog shelter, but its presence is now being looked at through a very different lens. The prosecution also presented visual evidence from the basement, including a workbench with a power tool still plugged in, an image that looms large as the state tries to build a case around premeditation and dismemberment. Later that morning, the court heard from Assistant Medical Examiner Dr. Lauren Decker, who supervised the autopsy of Sade Robinson. The testimony was graphic and sobering. Jurors were shown images of Robinson's dismembered lower leg, and Dr. Decker confirmed it had been severed after death. The process of identifying and collecting body parts took several weeks, with the last piece received by the medical examiner's office as late as June 19th. Dr. Decker described the autopsy as very unusual due to the long time span over which remains were found. Toxicology tests conducted on Robinson's leg tissue revealed the presence of caffeine, but no alcohol or illicit drugs. As for the cause of death, Dr. Decker concluded it was homicide by unspecified means, an important distinction that reflects the challenge of determining how Robinson was killed, given the condition and fragmentation of her remains. As the trial continues, the state is working to paint a picture of a troubled man whose actions escalated into horror. Meanwhile, the defense is aiming to poke holes in that narrative by pointing to a lack of direct evidence. No witnesses, no screams, and no definitive cause of death. This is a developing story with high emotional stakes and national implications. The eyes of the country remain fixed on Milwaukee, where justice for Robinson and accountability for what happened to her hangs in the balance.